Hello everyone and welcome to Civic Platform. This is your host Zuher Almusre. Canadian Mental Health Association Manitoba and Winnipeg run an event it calls At a Look for Black Canadians. So this event will help the Black Canadians to face their mental health challenging in Winnipeg. So let's find out more about this event in this new episode from Civic Platform.
Hi Zuher, thank you for welcoming me today to the Civic Platform. I'm pleased to be a part of your program. My name is Tracy Ann Campbell and I am a team lead in the Rehabilitation and Recovery Services here at the Canadian Mental Health Association, Winnipeg and Manitoba. So the Canadian Mental Health Association has a plethora of services. As an organization, our work includes services in system navigation, program delivery, employment services, community and workplace training and education, public awareness, rights-based advocacy, policy analysis, community mobilization and research. CMHA has a very long history of providing person-centered and recovery-orientated services supporting the greater community. To include supporting the greater community for inclusion and full citizenship. Our programs are grounded in evidence-based psychiatric rehabilitation model, focusing on helping individuals to develop skills and access resources and increase their capacity to be successful and satisfied in their living, working, learning, and social environments. So we offer quite a few different services to speak of. Community housing with supports is one of our larger program, apart from the rehabilitation and recovery services that I just spoke about. But community housing services with supports primarily focuses on housing. So meeting individuals where they're at, individuals that are episodically or chronically homeless, and providing sort of rapid housing supports to those individuals, connecting them to appropriate resources that will keep them housed, get them housed, and keep them housed, as well as having the supports to maintain the longevity of being a tenant. In addition to CHS, we also have our learning center, or education center, which we offer a wide range of online and in-person courses, which will be the platform or the service provision of the Black Mental Health Toolkit. We also have Futures Forward, where we are supporting individuals that have been aging out of child and family care services. In addition to that, we also have our hub. This is the primary service provision or service point of entry where when one wants to access CMHA services, this would be the first point of entry. So our service navigation hub, where we could handle issues from speaking to a family member who may be supporting another family member who is in a crisis, or a person who is calling about being in a crisis situation and needing the know-hows or the whereabouts to access such services. In addition to that, we have, I can't even think of our other services right now. Bounce Back, OMG, how could I forget Bounce Back? So Bounce Back is a newer initiative. So this is like an online, a telephone-based program where individuals who are, I guess, having moderate mental health illnesses are able to work with a Bounce Back specialist to go through different modules in order for those individuals to increase their capacity, their coping skills around the challenges that they may be facing. And yes, we have the huddle. This is our newest supports the youth huddle. I can't really speak a whole lot to the huddle, but they're offering drop-in services. I think I would say not just, well, drop-in services, but drop-in services that would include healthcare services. So I know that there's a nurse on site at the huddle, in addition to cultural activities that they do have on a daily, ongoing basis as well. Yeah, there's so much to speak of, but those are not my areas of focus. But nonetheless, we do have a lot of services and programs that we are offering here at CMHA.
Hi, my name is Arlene Porritt. I'm a rehabilitation and recovery worker here at CMHA. The programs that we offer here operate within the PSR, such as goal areas. We have 4 main goal areas, which is housing, education, employment, and social. I'm here to talk about the Black Mental Health Toolkit, and quite passionate about that. The toolkit means a lot to me because of, you know, there was nothing in existence before, and I'm just happy that we're rolling it out to individuals now. It's important for Black Canadians to have a toolkit like this when it comes to mental health. It's going to be used as a resource, as a gauge so people can open up, have open, frank conversations about what is mental health and how can you maintain mental health, and recognizing the signs that your mental health is now perhaps falling into a mental illness. Black Canadians face a lot of stigma, a lot of racism, and that's on several different levels. So with our toolkit, it is hoping to break down some barriers, open up some resources, be all-encompassing, just to help people to maintain mental health, to talk about what mental health is, talk about what mental illness is. And if you're having some symptoms, not to be ashamed, and that we're here to help. Well, as we know, the BIPOC community does suffer a lot of racism. Here in Manitoba, yes, we're known as Friendly Manitoba. However, the reality is, you know, through the residential schooling system, that's coming to light. Racism is quite potent here in Manitoba, and I can see how it is confusing, because a lot of people that are coming to Manitoba, they're told about all the wonderful opportunities, and it's friendly. I mean, it's on our license plate. However, we are rooted in racism. We are rooted in colonialism. So there's those stigmas still. There's still those beliefs, and it is hard on people. So when they get those mixed messages, they may not even know where to go or what to do with them. Right? Our toolkit helps to break down some of that. So what we do is we meet with an individual, and we do operate on the psychosocial rehabilitation PSR. So that's person first. So our first and main duty is we welcome everybody and anybody that comes to our doors. And the moment that we meet with them, we're very friendly. We create a very welcoming atmosphere, and just let them know that this is a safe space. The individual can talk about whatever they want to talk about. It doesn't leave this room. And it's okay that they share what they have to bring to us. And then together we can make a plan to help increase supports, whether they're natural, external, just so the individual can start to build like a wellness plan. And the toolkit is a wellness tool to start to build. So I can end with, I would really like, our doors open. There are no dumb questions. There are no, you're going to be greeted, you're going to be welcomed, and we're going to sit down, we're going to have a conversation. So I just invite people just to come and get involved.
So our mental health toolkit for Black Canadians courses are going to commence November 16th, 2022. We're going to be featuring an 8-week series where we're covering different modules within the toolkit. We will start on the 16th and then conclude December 7th for a break and continue on January 4th to January 25th. So that would be the first run through, I guess, or pilot. And then after that, our hope is to rerun it again, get some feedback, try to incorporate those feedbacks from our participants and run it again. That date has not been determined as yet, but nonetheless, we are going to be starting November 16th. Mental health is a reality for every one of us. And I think for Black Canadians, historically, there has been, I would say, a disconnection between Western medicine or, what is viewed as Western medicine, mental health, jargon and whatnot. But I would say that the need for this toolkit is super important because, like I said, mental health is a reality for us all, and we do need to be speaking the same language. And that's what this toolkit offers. It offers us a way to have unshamed conversation, to define our experiences, so what is happening within us, to us, as well as having that understanding, then we're able to respond accordingly, appropriately, I would say, to the challenges that we face. In order to make change, right, the most important thing is to actually recognize that something is happening and something is wrong or something is happening, and you need to address it. So I think, having this toolkit is going to help a lot of communities, a lot of Black communities, to be able to recognize and have that insights around how they're navigating through their communities and what are the impacts that they're experiencing, the negative impacts that they're experiencing throughout their journey. Taking care of ourselves, taking care of our communities, and knowing how to do so. I think one thing that is super ingrained in the Black community is, our work ethic, to work hard, to overcome. And, one would say that speaks to our resiliency, right? When you compare Black, research has shown that when you've compared Black communities to mainstream communities, that we're deemed to be more resilient. But I think when you are forced to sort of be resilient without, having a choice to be resilient, then that resilience sort of gets put to the wayside. It's not really developed, and, if it's developed, then it's going to be, intentional in terms of how we are able to take care of ourselves, because taking care of yourself and taking care of others, one has to have the ability to empathize, to humble yourself, to ask for help and not feel ashamed to ask for help, right? I think I had prefaced before that this toolkit is an opportunity for us to have unshamed conversation. There's a lot of stigmas around mental health. Mental health stigmas that are associated with Black people, right? So if we want to change the perception of the mainstream communities about who we are, I think it's really important for us to acknowledge the reality of our health, right? And by acknowledging the reality of our health, then we're able to grow and increase our capacity and support our communities to become more healthier communities. That goes a long way. I think that will speak to our representation in other areas versus where we're overrepresented, like you had mentioned, the depiction of what Black people are supposed to be like in media, how we're sort of defined, as service providers, never really leaders. So yeah, I think by taking care of ourselves and understanding our environment, increasing our environmental awareness as to what is impactful for us, then we're able to respond and we're able to grow and change, hopefully change other people's perception of who we are and how they choose to treat us.
Hi, my name is Coralie Dennis. I'm a rehabilitation worker with Canadian Mental Health Association, Manitoba and Winnipeg. And what we're doing right now is working on our knitting class. The knitting class is run by one of our volunteers. Some of the other staff take part, and some of our program participants take part as well. This program is important for participants. In a way, it's important for all humans to have things that they enjoy doing, so it's fun. It's a way to connect socially, so we can chat and interact. It's a way to feel like part of a community. And we were talking earlier about it releasing endorphins for calmness in your brain. And yeah, it's just plain fun. In order to register, you would contact our front desk, 204-982-6100, and speak with whoever is on the front desk. They would be able to help you. Or you can go online to our website at Canadian Mental Health Association, Manitoba and Winnipeg. Check on the Learning Center tab, and they'll have the classes available. There's a lot of other classes as well. I know it can be scary coming to a new place, but the staff, and especially the front desk staff, are very welcoming. And it's worth it. It's worth it to take that big step, come in, start to meet people.
I know this is a common reality, when you're migrating from other countries to Canada, that the perception or understanding is that life is going to be significantly different. The challenges that we face back home are not going to exist here. I mean, to some extent that is the truth. I think we do have challenges at home, but when we come here, we're facing different challenges. In racism, racism is an ongoing challenge that even the Indigenous population are still facing. So never mind the newcomers that are coming in. I would say, racism exists. It's deep rooted within Canadian communities, but the covertness of that, one may not necessarily see that they're being treated differently, or understand that they're being treated differently, but they have that gut sense that something is wrong. So I think the toolkit lends a hand for us to understand what those terms are. Migrating from a new country and thinking that your life is going to be different, but you go into your work environment or your school environment and you're facing microaggressions, for example, which have debilitating results, especially when you're experiencing those microaggressions over and over. So what do we do as a people? I think when we do come here, it's important for us to learn about Canadian culture, Canadian communities. I mean, before migrating to Canada, I'm sure a lot of newcomers had no understanding or no information about the Indigenous population here. right? So I would say first and foremost to understand that history, because even though we are speaking about reconciliation where the Indigenous population is concerned, there's still that state of mind, I would say general sort of state of mind of mainstream culture that needs that shift, right? To take actions, personal actions, in order to, address some of the historical remnants that are still at play today. By addressing that, I think then we're able to relate some of our experiences with the Indigenous communities and hopefully be a support to one another to overcome and to make positive changes to Canadian communities. Yeah, I would say as parents, immigrant parents, there's quite a bit of challenges, that are faced within the household. You're coming from a different cultural background and your children are now being immersed into a new culture. How do you sort of navigate the gap that's sort of increasing between, parent and child? I would definitely encourage parents to listen to their children, to learn from their children, of course, because they're gaining information as well. But at the same time, I would also encourage parents to do their homework as well, meaning that not every suggestion is going to be the right suggestion. So knowing what your values are, right? If you have strong family values, embark those values on your children and practice them. But at the same time, I think there's also a need to be flexible with your children, because they are growing in a new environment, and there's no way that you're going to be able to keep them in the environment that they came from. That's just not possible. So that flexibility around learning from them as well, you as a parent gaining more information. So yeah, do your homework, connect with teachers, get a better understanding as to what it is, what sort of information that they're exposed to, and then setting your limits around that, right? And having those frank and open conversations with your child about reasonings behind why you feel as a parent that this is not going to be okay for my child. Because I think often, and especially when we're thinking about why it's important for parents to listen to their children, as well as to listen and learn from their children. Children are gaining a lot of experience within their new environment, and I think a lot of those new experiences can be translated into, parents' their own learning, their own understanding. And as a parent, it's important for us to parents to understand their own parenting styles, so that they're then able to sort of be mindful around how they treat their children. So yeah, I would say the most important thing is to listen, right, and learn from each other. As children, you're getting more exposure to the Canadian culture. They're out and about in the communities more often than, say, a new parent who is coming and perhaps trying to make a living, to earn a living, right? There's not a lot of exposures there other than, working and whatnot. I mean, shame, stigma, those are very hard things to overcome. And I mean, for those who are not feeling 100% comfortable to participate in our course, I would encourage an online platform, perhaps, like participating via online. I think You don't necessarily have to, nobody will see you. You can turn your camera off, but you know, yeah, like that's an option. But I would encourage people to access the toolkit, because the toolkit is available online. And if you're not feeling comfortable to present in person or online, by all means, it's out there. Read it. You know, empower yourself. Maybe, you know, share that resource with somebody. Ask if somebody has heard of the toolkit, and you know, somebody that you trust, of course, to maybe gauge some feedback as to the importance of this, and perhaps that will take a bit of the stigma and a bit of the shame away, you know, to have that conversation, to discuss this very important resource with a trusted person. And if you don't have a trusted person, you can do it on your own. You can access it on your own. Our goal is most definitely to be interactive and to gain your perspective. But if that's not an option, if there's uncomfortability, we understand, but we encourage you to access it online.
My name is Christine Gerard, and I am the facilitator at CMHA Winnipeg, Manitoba for the knitting class. In the knitting class, we teach dishcloth to begin with, followed by a dish scrubby, and then a mug rug, which is a coaster, and then a cup cozy. Knitting is a good coping skill, which has helped me through 3 hospitalizations, as well as crocheting. And the movement of knitting releases serotonin in your brain. I would like to share my story about my mental health journey with knitting helping me. When I was 15, my mom taught me the basics of crochet after receiving some yarn and a hook for a birthday gift from one of my aunties, uncles, and cousins. When I first learned to crochet, I didn't know that there were health benefits from it, like helping your mental health if you live with anxiety and depression. When I was 25, I was hospitalized for the first time for my mental health. Thank goodness for being allowed my crochet supplies, because that's what helped me get me through the month-long hospital stay. Fast forward a couple months, I was hospitalized a second time again. I was thankful to have my crochet supplies with me. Shortly after my second hospitalization, I moved out on my own and decided that I wanted to learn to knit. I tried YouTube, but was a bit frustrated, so my mom again helped me with the basic knowledge she knew and taught me the basics. This time I found it harder than I remember learning to crochet. I just about gave up on knitting. Fast forward to 2018, I reached out to CMHA to teach crochet and knitting. It was perfect timing, because just as I reached out, they were planning to do a knitting class. I was a peer co-facilitator and helped Coralie out with the class, as well as the following year in 2019. In 2019, I was hospitalized for a 3rd time for my mental health. This time I had my crochet and knitting to help me through this day, and slowly started to learn the health benefits both crochet and knitting has for your mental health. In 2019, I also finally realized that crochet and knitting was in fact a form of art. I realized this after making a crochet baby blanket for my nurse practitioner. I took a picture of it laid out, and it just dawned on me that it wasn't just a blanket but a piece of art. So after some encouragement from 2 of my previous mental health workers, they encouraged me to apply for the Art Beat program, with the art focus being on crochet and knitting. So in 2020, I was accepted into the Art Beat program. Fast forward to March 2022, and I started to facilitate knitting on my own at Studio Central. Then in May of 2022, I started to be the lead facilitator here at CMHA. Both crochet and knitting has become an important part of my mental health recovery. If I don't do either and miss a day or 2, I feel lost. It helps me with my depression and gives me a purpose to life. It also helps me with my anxiety and helps me focus on something positive. Since 2018, I have been donating majority of my work to various local organizations to help people in the community by making hats, scarves, cowls, mittens, to name a few. Whenever I'm sitting, I most likely have a hook or needles in my hand.
So, I mean, I would say that historically CMHA has not been CMHA has been inclusive, yes, but I wouldn't say that we have a large number of participants that would identify with the BIPOC community. But nonetheless, I think we are making strides in becoming more inclusive. As you see, this lovely cultural room that we're in, our Indigenous cultural space. So we are making strides. Throughout the pandemic, though, we had to be really innovative to, to provide the services that we do. For the rehab and recovery services, the program that I'm a team lead in, we went online. We did a lot of our meetings online with participants via Zoom or Teams. But other programs like the community housing with supports, where they had to again be innovative, try to check in on individuals daily, leaving them notes, leaving them packages at their door, social distancing. With our mental health toolkit, though, we were trying to connect with multiple cultural organizations, individuals that belong to those organizations, and yeah, same there. We had to go online. We had a very well laid out plan to have community forums, focus groups and whatnot, but we had to shift. So yeah, we went online. The toolkit was actually first had its first screening where we had myself and Dr. Ka present the toolkit, so that we were able to share an audio-visual version of it before it became before we had the printed copy of it. So yeah, we had to. It was challenging. We had to offer many of options for people to kind of connect with us, especially when we're talking about older adults, right, who may not be as technologically savvy as myself. Well, I wouldn't say as myself. I have nieces and nephews that are more technologically savvy than I am. But yeah, we saw that was challenging. So I think one of the things that we had to do was to offer multiple options for people to connect and engage, so that others would be able to support their aging family members to connect. But yeah, I think even though that barrier was there, we were able to prevail. We connected with a significant amount of our community members, and yeah, we went virtual. Well, I mean, I would say that for everybody, I know this is speaking very generally. I don't know everybody in the organization, but I would say that if you choose to work at CMHA, you must have some strong values of respect, hope, empathizing with individuals. So yeah, like when we're meeting with participants, I think what we lead first with, definitely meeting people where they're at, not giving advice, but supporting the individuals to make their own decisions, to get where they want to be. I think when a person is in our program and they may not have that sort of momentum to sort of go forward in their goal domain, we hold space, like we hold on to hope for them. It's like we're their own cheerleaders, right? We're the voice of encouragement. We are the voice that reflects their accomplishments, as to motivate that individual to actually recognize their own strengths, right? Their own abilities, and for them to move forward in the direction that they want to go. So yeah, for the most part, yeah, here at CMHA, like, you can't be doing this work if you don't hold certain values, principles dear, right? Believing that it's possible. I think that's one of our values that we have in our new strategic plan. When you believe that it's possible for somebody, you know, and you convey that message, sooner or later they'll believe that too. I would like to add that, you know, the toolkit is very special. It's special and it's unique. Reason being that it wasn't created for the African communities. It wasn't created for the Caribbean communities or Canadian-born Black individuals. This toolkit was a creation of diverse African community members, diverse Caribbean community members, as well as African-born or people of African Caribbean descents that were born in this country. So what I'm getting at is the fact that, you know, a lot of work, a lot of input from our peers, our community members came into this toolkit, was put into this toolkit for our benefit. So it was created by us and it is for us. In addition to that, this toolkit can be super helpful for non-Black individuals, service providers, for example. I think in the climate of social justice, we are seeking for more inclusion and diversities, and I think that speaks to the diversity of resources that are available out there, and having this toolkit being used by organizations that supports and serves Black Canadians, that would increase, you know, cultural competency, because I think that is a huge gap that we're facing in health services, right? Individuals that are competent in the sense that they understand our identities, like who we are and how those identities will play a part in terms of how best we can be supported. So yeah, I think in addition to individuals and Black individuals and families in Black communities, this toolkit is a huge resources for service providers who do support where Black Canadians access their services. So I would say my final message for anybody who is viewing this program is to recognize that mental health is a reality for us all. There's no health without mental health, and we need to prioritize our mental health. We need to have these unshamed conversations. We need to be speaking the same languages around mental health so that we're best able to respond, address whatever challenges that are coming at us, so that we can improve our overall well-being of ourselves and our communities at large as well. I do appreciate the invite to be a part of this program. I thank you so much, and I hope to see many new faces at our Learning Center at 930 Portage Avenue or online. Please register. Go to the CMHA website, Canadian Mental Health Association, Winnipeg and Manitoba. Go to our website, access, click the link, Learning Center, and you'll see a length of our courses that are being offered, not just the Black Mental Health Toolkit promotional course, but other courses. But I encourage you to sign up for whatever course that meets your needs. Yeah, thank you. Hope to see you all.
We reached the end of our episode. Thank you for watching. If you see that event helpful, please click in the website for this organization and attend this event. It will help you to pass your challenge. So if you like the episode, please like, share, and subscribe to see our upcoming episodes.